Hi, everyone.
Hello, welcome to Myth Busting Mondays. I'm Orna
And I'm
Walters.
Matthew Walters. And that's right. Every Monday is Myth Busting Monday, where we bust a common myth about love.
About love, dating, relationships. There's a lot of myths. We don't like most of them. So today we're going to talk about luck. So, do you have to be lucky? Do you? Do
I
you have
don't
to be
know.
lucky to have love? You
I,
don't know.
I wore my lucky green shirt just
What
to
do you
find out.
what are you doing here if you
I,
don't know?
well, I'm here to find out.
You're funny. We're here to share with them.
Oh, right.
You're funny. All right, so goofing off is part of our Myth Busting Monday event
Yes.
today. Thank you for joining us. This is an interesting one because we're going to start in this place. What you believe is true, whatever you believe. If you're listening to us right now, if you believe you have to be lucky to have love, well, that is true for you. But if you want love, you better make sure you're the luckiest person.
Right. You don't want to believe that you have to be lucky to have love, and also believe that you're not lucky, because then you're just not going to get love, right? Because our beliefs drive our behavior. It drives how we perceive the world around us, how we respond to events. All of it is run by our deep subconscious beliefs.
Yeah. Well, deep and not so deep.
And not so deep.
All kinds of levels. I mean, we had a client many, many years ago who really thought she was unlucky. She had had an autoimmune disorder when she was a kid, and she just had a lot of physical issues still. And she just had a lot of issues, and she didn't think she was lucky when it came to love. And so we decided, since she believed that she had to be lucky and she felt unlucky, then we had to work on making her believe she's lucky. So one of the things that we did, which I thought was such great feedback, like a month later, it was the Super Bowl, and she, at her job, they had one of those pools where you put in some money to win, based on the score, like you pick the squares on the board or whatever. And she won the Super Bowl pool at her job. And it was so cute, but she was like, "You guys, this never happens to me." And she had never played in the Super Bowl pool before.
But wasn't even a football fan.
Yeah,
she just did it because everybody was doing it at work.
But what I thought was so cool about it is she said she knew she was going to win when she picked the squares and put her money in. She said, "I knew I was going to win," and then it happened. And so we really worked on this idea. Does she know that her beloved is on the way, and that she was working towards him as he was working towards her, and that they would, in fact, that it would be inevitable for them to meet. And so we had great success with that. And it's just a fun little story, because if you think you're unlucky and you believe that you have to be lucky to have love, then you're setting yourself up for big disappointment. I mean, I think it's interesting that Matthew and I hear from people all around the globe all the time about how lucky we are to have found each other.
Right. And, I mean, I'm grateful. Right. I'm so blessed and grateful to be with Orna and to have this amazing relationship and this work we get to do with all of you. And if I look back over my love life, I wasn't particularly a lucky person. I mean, there was one time where I spent, I think, 3 years without a date. Right.
Oh.
And I think as well about all the, the toxic relationships I was in when I was in them. So I didn't feel particularly lucky when it came to love. Right.
Yeah, I didn't feel very lucky. I mean, we didn't get together until after 40. And again, when people write us and say you're so lucky to have found each other, I in my mind, the first thought I have is, well, I don't think luck had anything to do with it. I mean, I was in a relationship where I thought the guy was going to be the guy, right? The one and all that. And he beat me. So I don't feel particularly lucky in that regard to have gone through all of that. Although I've told Matthew, and I'll share it with all of you, that if I had to go through what I went through, 1,000 times to end up where I am now, I would, because I love my life now and I love my man, and we love working with all of you and sharing all of these tips and tools to create that long-lasting love. So ask yourself, do you think you have to be lucky to have love? And if that's true, do you believe that you're lucky, or are you just putting it off to think you're unlucky altogether? Because if you believe luck has something to do with it, then it will.
Right. So let's look at the definition of luck that is so common out in the world. And it's one that we really love because I think it applies to what we're talking about today. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. right?
Yeah.
When preparation meets opportunity. So it's not happenstance. It's not something you slip on a banana peel and you got lucky to fall into the right person, right? It's when preparedness meets opportunity. And so when I think about my journey, well, that fits. I was incredibly lucky because I had spent several years really becoming the person I needed to become in order to have a healthy, loving relationship, right? And I was doing a lot of introspecting. I was doing a lot of healing work. I was doing a lot of meditation, right? I was doing visualizations. I had a vision board. I was, and I was also working on skills about getting better at my communication and being, more authentic. So all of that stuff came together when the opportunity showed up and Orna showed up in my life.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think I was really lucky.
Definitely, I was definitely prepared, and I was definitely looking for the opportunity, and I worked really hard for that. So I don't like to just chalk it up to luck that I'm with Matthew, because all these years together certainly isn't just luck. I mean, we've had a lot of curveballs thrown our way, and we find our way through them. And so that's what we really want to talk about, this idea of luck being preparation meets opportunity. Several years ago, I think back in 2013, there was a gal here in at the Hollywood Bowl, and she had gone to the Hollywood Bowl with her family, and it was the Kristen Chenoweth concert, who starred in the musical Wicked, if you don't know, on Broadway. And there's a duet between the two ladies, Kristen Chenoweth's character Galinda, and the who becomes the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz story, Elphaba is her name. And so Elphaba and Galinda sing this really beautiful duet called For Good. Well, this young woman was at the Hollywood Bowl with her family and friends to see Kristen Chenoweth. She loves the musical Wicked, and lo and behold, she got plucked out of the audience to sing For Good, to sing that duet with right alongside Kristen Chenoweth on stage at the iconic Hollywood Bowl.
Pretty amazing, right? Now there was definitely a lot of things in this particular, so I just want to lay some things out before you get there, right? There were some lucky things that happened, right? She had purchased tickets, up in the bleacher seats, and, through happenstance, happened to instead get these tickets exchanged and sit in a box down in front.
Yeah.
So she was in a place to where she could be seen.
To volunteer.
Right. There was
some
circumstances that showed up. What's the word I'm looking for? Kismet, right? Coincidences, right?
Some lucky coincidences. But I want to say this. The reason why we're bringing it up is because when she starts to sing, it's like the angels are singing. I mean, she is phenomenal. And even the conductor of the LA Phil at the time turns back 3 times, turning over his shoulder to go, who's singing? Because she's, her voice is spectacular. She even sings harmony, no rehearsal. And I just imagine every time I watch that video, it went viral on YouTube. It's had millions of views. You can search it. Her name's Sarah Horn. Just put in Sarah Horn Hollywood Bowl. There's a few versions of it because a number of people put up the video. But her friend who was with her that night, along with her family, put this video up that night on YouTube. I happened to catch it in real time the very next day after it had like 1 million something views. And it's one of these things that's so inspiring and so spectacular because she meets the moment. She meets the moment. And what we want to say is, was she lucky? Well, yes, right?
Right.
And luck in the sense that she was prepared and she was there for the opportunity. And I watched all these interviews with Sarah Horn after this event happened. And there was one that was so sweet because they asked, did you hesitate at all when Kristen Chenoweth was asking if somebody wanted to come up to the stage? And she said, well, I hesitated for a moment because I thought she must be looking for a plant. And so, then I was like, oh, well, all these other people around me have their hands up. I better put my hand up. And her voice is spectacular. And she turned it into a really great opportunity for a performing career. She's been performing ever since. And I just want to say that on some level in my relationship with Matthew, I feel like I was, like he plucked me out of the audience at the Hollywood Bowl. And I have this opportunity to sing with him and to share my life with him. I mean, not, you know, figuratively singing, right?
Yeah,
That
you
we
don't
are-
want to hear us sing a duet.
No, you don't.
She's pretty good, but me
You're,
not so
you're
much.
sweet. I can fake it. Okay. But I just want to say it's this inspiring thing to watch this video. I think we'll post the link here in the thread so you can see how inspiring it is. And I hope some of you like the musical Wicked. Definitely a musical theater geek, but it's just one of these really inspiring things. And we want to say that we've made it through the challenges that life has brought us because we have the skill set for lasting love. That's the preparedness that everybody needs. If you think you're going to find some mythical, magical person that you have zero conflict with and you'll just live happily ever after, that only happens in the movies, because movies are about 90 to 120 minutes long, and then we all go home from the theater. So life is not a movie. Life is yours to make of it what you will, what you desire. And if you desire to have a great love relationship, then you've got to be prepared. And that means speaking up, even if it's uncomfortable. We call that mastering the uncomfortable conversation, right? If you really want to share your life with somebody, you have to be able to speak about those uncomfortable things. That's really part of the skill set for lasting love. And number two is how to turn a conflict into a deeper connection. So instead of conflicts driving you apart, that it binds you together.
See, these were skills that we had both worked on before we met each other. And then when we did get together and we had a couple of conflicts early on in the dating, we were really intentional about it. We were like, oh, we better sit down and talk about this in a way that allows us to work through it, right? Because we wanted this to work. So we were also very intentional there. Now, if we just left it up to luck, right, that first big fight could have been a big wedge that we couldn't have figured out, right? And then later, subsequent fights could have led to us not even being together anymore because we didn't have the skills to navigate this relationship. And the other piece is we both did a lot of work on ourselves. So we knew what our own trigger points were. We knew what our own wounding stories were. And we had done a lot of work to heal them, right? So it wasn't like, you know, when we would have a conflict that we would be looking at each other and go, you did this to me, or you're the problem, right?
I don't like that finger pointing.
Sorry, right? We didn't do that. Instead, we said, well, this is my stuff. And this is what I'm upset about. This is what I feel hurt about. And this is why this is upsetting to me, right? Because we knew our own stuff about it. And so that's a big part of that preparation. So then when the opportunity comes and you meet somebody who, you know, after having a 3-hour one-on-one networking meeting, and then the next time you see her at the meeting, she comes over and sits next to you, right? You make sure to take advantage of that situation, right? And so we just want to say, right, you don't want to be stuck thinking that you have to be lucky to have love and feeling like you're an unlucky person. That's not a good place, because then it feels like you're stuck and you're not going to ever get what you want.
But it's also abdicating your own power, right? Each person has the power of your own creativity. We are by nature creative beings. And I know that Matthew and I invoke our creativity every single time there is a conflict between us, because we don't traditionally just meet in the middle and compromise. Instead, we're always looking for a win-win between us so that we both get to win, right? Yeah. Otherwise, nobody really wins unless both of us win. And so our goal always is to look for certainly what, you know, to get our own personal needs met, but also to feed the needs of the relationship, because we know that life is better together than it is apart. And so we're here to be of service to you, to tell you it's not magic over here. I mean, I think at some point, every single one of our clients over the last decade plus has asked us, you know, do you guys fight? And we say,
yeah, we do, you know?
Yeah.
And they go, well, what does that sound like? We go, well, sounds like a fight, right?
Sure does.
We raise voices, you know, sometimes we say things we don't mean because we're upset or we're hurt or we're angry. But we always know how to work through it. We always know how to get to the other side. And we always know how to reconnect.
Yeah,
and apologize and repair,
take responsibility,
and you know, all of that stuff. Yeah. Make amends if we have to. Right? We're always doing the work to stay connected, because connection is our most important value when it comes to intimate relationship. It's the one thing not the one thing, but it's the one main thing that we share about intimate relationship that's so important to both of us, is feeling connected to our partner.
Yeah. And so it's odd when we're disconnected. As a matter of fact, if you have been getting our emails at all, you'll know that every Monday, earlier today, we sent out our Love Notes weekly newsletter. We've been sending that out every single Monday for over 11 years now.
Yeah.
And so we called the newsletter Love Notes weekly because it gave us the opportunity to commit to sending out that newsletter every single week. And we wanted people to start their week off with love. And so we picked Monday to start your week off with love. And one of the things that I find really interesting is we realized pretty early on in working together when we made that change that you cannot write a newsletter called Love Notes Weekly if you're shooting daggers across the room, right, and you're still angry at the other person you're working with, right? Because we write together. And so we're passing that newsletter back and forth, or, you know, we write our blog posts together. Everything we do in this business, we do together, hand in hand. And so we were like, oh, we better figure out how to get through these little bumps that we hit, because we've got people to serve, clients to coach, newsletters to write, and things to do. And so it really exercised even more all of these skills that we're sharing with you that, I mean, I would love to say we've mastered them, but, you know, sometimes we do have hiccups. And so it's normal to have them. And I think society as a whole is so conflict avoidant that we avoid the opportunity to create that deeper connection with somebody, and that we often walk away from and give up on a perfectly awesome person that you're really well partnered with, because we don't know how to bridge the gap after a conflict. We don't know how to turn that conflict into a deeper connection. So this is that skill set. When I think of Sarah Horn being plucked out of the audience, out of all of those people, even just out of the boxes, how many people there are, right in front of the stage of the Hollywood Bowl, that she had the opportunity to come and sing with her, you know, her idol, and sing that song that she probably sung hundreds and hundreds of times, all on her own. She must have sang over and over again, imagining that she was singing that part with Kristen Chenoweth. And there she was, had the opportunity to do it for all the world to see, that changed her life for good. And what we want to say is, if you're having trouble in your current relationship, or you've had trouble in the past, in past relationships, speaking up for yourself or knowing what to do when there's a conflict, that is an area you must practice and practice and practice, because you're always going to have conflicts that arise when you share your life with somebody. That's just called normal.
Exactly. You know, and the other piece is, in terms of the preparedness, is really looking at those old wounding stories, right, from childhood that are trigger points for you, that you are very sensitive about, right? What are those stories that you have? And are you aware of all of them? Are you able to own all of them? You know, one of our programs, the Soulmate Shortcut, is a great way of going through that whole process of discovering what some of those are and doing the work to begin to change them, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
if you're interested in the Soulmate Shortcut, you just go to the soulmateshortcut.com, and you can pick that up there. It is a complete DIY program. So there's audio, transcripts, and workbooks. We have the transcripts of the audio available. So if English is not your first language, we've heard back from people who've gone through the course where English is not their first language, and they're actually reading while they're listening for better comprehension. So we've sold this product all over the globe. It's instant digital delivery, so you can get it anytime. If you just want to dig deeper into what's going on with you, because the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself.
That's right. So thank you for joining us for Myth Busting Mondays. Tomorrow, as always, is Ask O&M Tuesday. Be sure, you know, to look for the post in this group where you can post your question if you have any questions for us. Also, when we, you know, set up the video, the live for tomorrow, you can post your questions there.
Yeah. So what we're suggesting is, in the comment thread, just like you see in this live video, the comment thread will be there tomorrow. We're going to look in two places for your questions. in the live video thread right there in the comments where we're live on the screen. But also there is a post we put up yesterday on Sunday to give people an opportunity to ask questions ahead of time. There's already, I know, at least one question in that thread. So just look for the little talk bubble that says Ask O&M below here in the private group. And remember, the group is private. So it's not like this is posted for all of Facebook to see. We created this as a private group so we could do the Ask O&M Tuesday. Nobody else outside of this group will be able to see or the posts or watch these videos. We're not going to use them for anything else. So please know that your privacy and your confidentiality means a lot to us. We've created this group here like a sacred space. So your privacy is our utmost importance. So please feel free to open your hearts, share with us what's on your mind. We're here to help.